Happy to be joined right now on Matchpoint Canada by 17 career WTA titleist and former world number one. She's played really well in Canada here as well. Karolina Pliskova, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. Great to see you back in Canada. You've had some great runs both in Montreal and Toronto. Finals in Montreal, semifinals in Toronto, I think.
Yeah, I think couple semifinals here.
Last
one was 2 years back. So
Right.
Great memories, obviously, from both of the tournaments here. And I feel like the surface and the weather here, which is normally quite warm, can suit my game quite well. So that's why I had good success. But of course, the goal is to get the title because I was close a couple of times and still don't have it. So let's see this year.
So maybe this is it. Now, when you come back to a place where you've had success in the past, do you feel a certain comfort level right away? Like when you get to Canada, do you say, this is a good spot for me?
You know, I do, and especially if, last couple of weeks were not easy. Last week in Washington, I was not playing great, but I feel like if I come to a place where I had some good matches in the past, I try to look back on these matches and just to remember how well I played here. And I feel like I always play well here, no matter in which kind of mood I come, then this kind of helps.
That's great. I saw you practicing with Leilani Fernandez the other day. Have you hit with her before, or how did that partnership for the practice come up?
Actually, I canceled my practice, which was in the morning, and then she was the only one left. So
was
that's
accidental.
how it happened. It was a little bit accident, but no, we do practice sometimes. She's a very nice girl. Her father is nice, so we do have good vibes on the court. So, and she's really working hard on the court. So I feel like it's a good to practice with her.
Now, look, I'm going to ask more questions about you in a moment, but since we're on the topic of Canada and Canadian tennis players, our country has obviously come a long way with the tennis in recent years. They're being honored tonight for their Billie Jean King Cup victory that we've had to wait now to get all the players back here in one spot. What do you notice with the Canadian program and the strength of the players since when you started your career to what we have now?
I feel there is always somebody who is really at the top, no matter who it is, if woman or man. I feel like there is many players, and the country obviously is big, but you guys have so many good players also in the past. And of course, there was Bianca, before it was Eugenie Bouchard, for some years. So I feel like there's always somebody who is very dangerous from this country. Now it's Leila. I feel like she's really playing great this year. Also reached one Grand Slam final. So and of course winning the Billie Jean Cup. I think you guys beat Czech Republic there. So
sorry about that one.
Yeah, that's fine. But we also have a great team, so that's only can show how good team you have also in doubles. So that's why you won this title. So there's many good players in your country.
And I don't feel too bad because the Czechs have won
We
it
won
several
couple, yeah.
times as well, right?
That's true.
What is the secret? I don't know the Czech Republic that well, I have to be honest with you, although it's on my list of places to visit.
Yeah.
What is it that's made your country so successful in tennis? Because it's not like a huge population. Is the sport just one of the biggest ones in your country?
Actually, I wouldn't say that tennis is number one. I would say it's somewhere 3, 4, because obviously first is soccer, and then there is ice hockey, which is we won the world championship, which was not long ago. And
look, I'm still upset over 1998 when the Czechs beat Canada in the Olympics. Okay,
I know there is big history about us, but so we have these two sports, and I would say tennis is somewhere in hell, maybe third, fourth. But especially women's, I feel like we have 10 or how many players in the top 100, and for the last couple of years there's always somebody who is at the top, and then there's always somebody who is a little bit behind, but so many players in top 100, which is great. But I don't think there's very some secret, because everybody, for example, me, I don't train really much in Czech Republic, so there is everybody somewhere else. Everybody has some different coaches, so it's not like we would be from the same club. But I think it's the motivation, and of course, the past, there was always some good players. I feel like the history of tennis in Czech Republic is big, so there's many kids playing, and of course, maybe that's why everybody's trying to, play good and just overall play tennis.
When you were growing up as a tennis player, if we go back to your childhood, did you always have that serve? I mean, for our listeners who aren't familiar, you have the nickname of being the ace queen, which I have to tell you is the coolest tennis nickname I've ever heard. But did you always have that? Was that always a weapon for you, or did it take time before it sort of developed?
You know what? I was not always this tall as I'm now. So when I was let's say, starting to play tennis, or till maybe 15, 16, it was definitely not the biggest weapon. But then somehow over the years it developed, and it became a big weapon. And of course, it's part of my game, and it's if I feel if the serve is not there, I still have some other shots, but it's the biggest strength of my game.
Do you remember where the nickname came from? Like, I'm assuming you didn't give it to yourself.
No, of course not. How stupid it would look.
Hey, some people, you never know,
I know,
right?
but that's not me.
If I had
but,
to serve like that,
I think it actually was some fans from China, I think. I'm not quite sure, but then it somehow spread. And so now, like, many people, of course, called me like that. And my past sponsor, they also did some T-shirt with, like, Ace Queen. So
I remember that one.
yeah. So, but I think originally it came from some Chinese fans.
Okay. What's one piece of advice you could give to fans trying to work on their serve? And when I mean fans, I mean for myself, actually. What's something that you could help me out with?
I think as good as my serve was or is sometimes still, I think is the hardest shot in the game, because you can take as much as time as you want, but sometimes that can also like hurt you because you maybe think too much, then you have too many options where to serve. So I feel like it's like the most important thing is to be relaxed and just to pick up one like corner where you're gonna serve and then you serve just there. But the
Just
motion
practice
of course,
that one spot until you get it.
and not too, because I sometimes like me by myself, I step like on the line and then I see like,
Footfall.
okay, maybe I go, no, maybe I go T, or maybe I have too many options where to go. And then if you overthink, then usually you miss. So I think it's just to pick up the easiest thing and just to go for it
and stay relaxed. I'll stop stressing
yes.
myself out. Okay.
Try that.
How many ball bounces before you?
Not too many, because then also like you think too much,
Right.
know. So maybe 2, 3, and then you just go for it.
Right. When you have an opponent who bounces the ball like a lot of times, does it start to sort of get to you?
No, not really.
That drives me
I'm
nuts.
quite easy person overall, so I don't really see these things. I mean, sometimes I do hate when they toss too many times, because then you kind of like, you almost ready to play and then nothing.
Oh, when they like
and then
catch
you're
it and
almost
have
ready.
to.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, you have to just deal with it.
Okay, I appreciate all this advice. I'm going to put it into practice.
Try
We'll
that,
see what
yeah,
happens
yeah.
next. Try to be serious for a second, but just moving forward for this season, what kind of goals do you have between now and the end of 2024 to end the season the way that would make you happy?
I mean, obviously there is a, let's say, bigger part behind us already. I felt like I played some weeks good tennis, some weeks not, some weeks I was injured. So it was a bit of everything this year, but I would just like to stay healthy till end of the year and play, like full season, because last year I didn't go to Asia. So that would be my goal, just to go through all the tournaments. And obviously because I didn't play too many tournaments last year, there is no points of defending for me. So
Right.
would be great to do something actually.
Of course.
No pressure, but of course it always helps like to make some points in the end of the year. So let's see how that will go. But I feel like, okay, now I just passed the first round, so I don't want to think too big, but I feel
Sure.
like that's always the most important and the hardest step to reach in the tournament, and then anything is possible.
So it's going to be a long season for you then, because of the fact that everything you accomplish is going to be a bonus in that sense, right?
Yeah,
For-
exactly. And as I said, like the goal is just to stay healthy and just to try to play all the tournaments.
Well, we wish you good health and many aces.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back to chat with us today.